can't believe it. I can't believe it. Football, bloody hell. But they never give in. And that's the winner.
Welcome to the American Red Devils podcast. I'm John.
I'm Alex.
And we're bringing you the best Manchester United news from this side of the pond.
Gentlemen, that is outstanding. You talk about you guys being ready to go. You guys have been ready to go for 6 weeks, man. That's the way to come out and set the tone for the day.
Yes, sir.
That's exactly what you guys did. You didn't bat an eye. And guess what? It wasn't quite the cleanest game either. But that's okay, man. We did what we had to do, and we took control of that game. I want you guys to enjoy this because we earned that. We're earning all of them right now. You're playing good football. All right, we got to keep going. We're into the next one, and the Jets are coming up. We got to be ready to go. It's a physical freaking team. We're going up to their place. Man, stay hungry just like you are, man. We are on fire right now. We got to keep it. All right, let's go.
Let's go. Go ahead, Jared. Hey, it feels different, right? It feels different. The work and the results speak to that. Keep doing it. Reload this week one more at a time. One more at a time. Stick together. Family on three. 1, 2, 3.
Woo, sir. How we doing? Happy Boxing Day to all the American Red Devils out there. Woo! Wasn't perfect. Nervy. Tale of two halves. Once again, Manchester United 3, Aston Villa 2. Unai Emery. Sad Unai Emery. Can't beat it. Also got Jim Ratcliffe news. Christmas game early for all Manchester United fans on the 24th, sir. How you doing? How we feeling?
Feeling great. We got 3 points against the top 3 Villa side coming into Old Trafford. Boxing Day. Merry Christmas to all American Devils around the world. Hope you had a great one with your friends and family. Man, I feel like we're all dreading this one, especially after that first half. And then to come back at home, a little bit of magic from Garnacho. Højlund, living on a miracle. You like to see him get that goal. Sir, you're just absolutely enjoying the holiday. Holiday cheer is back on the menu. How are we doing?
You know what? There's nothing like a Manchester United comeback. It just hits differently. Hope everyone had a Merry Christmas, like you said. Hope everyone is enjoying the holidays. And you know what? Today looked like it was going to be a little holiday misery. Ham's gone bad. That's what it was in at least that first 25 minutes we gave up those 2 shit goals. But United showing some resiliency, showing some fight. And I thought we fought back even at parts in the first half, but truly in the second half. So great performance all around, really. But shout out especially to Garnacho. Højlund with the winner. Defense, I thought, played quite well, except for obviously the goals. They hung out in the second half. And then we got Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe's in the building, baby. The news is official. It broke on the 24th. Talk about timing. Pundits, the funniest thing is the pundits being like, oh, the timing. They're so silly. But either way, a change is afoot. Something to get excited about. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in 1 year, but change is better than stagnation. And when this team's been stagnated over the last 2 decades, it has gone to shit underneath the Glazers. And you know what? They're not leaving, but they're not calling the shots no more as it relates to football and operations. And you know what? Old Ratcliffe, Big Jim, he might not get it right away, but you could tell by the pedigree of individuals he's already brought in, i.e. Jean-Claude Blanc, Brailsworth, that he's going to hire smart people, or at least try to. So that's something to get excited about. The football ain't great or ain't perfect, but today, at least in the second half, and that comeback, something to be hopeful about in the holidays, sir.
Yeah, the big news, comeback vibes aside, we'll get into the match when we break it down. The Ratcliffe news is huge. Thinking of the arc of Manchester United, the great history dating back all the way to John Henry Davies, the great owner who actually bought the hallowed ground at Old Trafford, got us our first title, and named us Manchester United of all things. And we're in an ownership transition, I'm going to call it, a minority deal. Ratcliffe getting frisky, taking the reins of footballing operations was huge. That was confirmed this weekend. Filing with the SEC just hit like 2 hours ago. I haven't had a chance to read all 300 pages. Actually, just had to put my son down. But a lot is going to come out of what this deal is. But the good news is, if you've been listening to this podcast, we told you what it would be. It'd be a minority transaction where there'd be a lot of caveats, a lot of negotiations for governance and different mechanisms in the club. And to see the no dividend for 3 years, or at least Jim Ratcliffe putting a stop to that, from the Glazers is really showing, hey, look, the Glazers get a little taste. They get some liquidity, all the kids, 6 of them. They need some cash, trust funds running low. They had to get some money out of United, right? That's what secondary is. It's going right to them, not going to the club. Good news is he's putting some money in. What are they going to use that money for? They're going to use that to redevelop the training ground, the stadium, all good news. And this is why the deal took so long. All these points, it's more complicated to do a deal like this. And there could be a transition for the Glazers to get out of Manchester United, most importantly. But today they're getting out of the football business. You love to see that. They get some liquidity. They're going to go kick it into Florida. And hopefully we're going to be focused more on Ratcliffe and his all-star team he's bringing in than we ever will be focused on South Florida. And at a certain point in time, let's hope Ratcliffe becomes the man. If he's able to bring United back, he can be 100% owner of Manchester United. Or, hey, maybe it could be fan-owned. Who knows? But this is all good news. I feel like a step in the right direction. We still have to be vigilant as fans. This could be a long process. But this is the news I'm focused on. Shitfootball.com is still strong. It was strong for half this game. And I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of it. But I'm more focused on the arc of history and this big momentous announcement this Christmas. The best Christmas gift I got, sir, ultimately was getting this news, and the terms of the deal just keep getting better and better as you read through the paperwork. But sir, we're going to get into that in the news section. Let's get into a quick PSA for the podcast. You like the American Red Devils? We are for fans, by fans. Support us. We don't have any private sponsors on this podcast. We do it for the love of the game, giving you that biased fan take from the couch. Check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/American Red Devils, behind the scenes episode every single month. Get it while it's hot, sir. We have tons of great benefits over at our Patreon page. Please check it out. Big shout out to Anonymous. We had an Anonymous member sign up this month. Could be from the hacker group. Who knows, sir? I think they go by the same name.
Could be Jim Ratcliffe.
Could be Jim. Sir Jim, baby. Welcome to the Patreon. Might as well call it Sir Jim. If Patreon's not your thing, check out our store, AmericanRedDevils.store. We got tons of merch there. Also, AmericanRedDevils.com. That's our fan blog. If you want to write for it, please email us, AmericanRedDevils@gmail.com. Sir, tell them about iTunes reviews and other ways for Muppets like yourself to support the pod.
Great way to support the pod, beyond the ways John mentioned, is to write 5-star reviews. And if you do so, we're giving away free merch. We're giving away free ARD design scarves. All you have to do is write a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify and send a screenshot of that review to AmericanRedDevils@gmail.com with your mailing address, and I'll personally pick, pack, and ship a free ARD scarf. Send it right to your door anywhere in the world. Here's a great review from Jacqueline Tantern. Best Muppet takes. Must listen for any Red Devil supporter. Thank you for everyone who's been writing those 5-star reviews. I'll tell you what, like you said, shitfootball.com in the first half, but really, the news of the pod, we're going to get into it later, but really, I have to close that sandwich. It's about Ratcliffe. I mean, like, this season's already a write-off at this point. We can save some semblance of pride by the end of the season, but really, it's about changing things at the top of the pyramid as it relates to Manchester United and the structure overhead, and it's not going to happen overnight, but at least it changes the foot. So I'm sure more and more details are going to come out, like you said, sir. The doc just dropped. There's a lot in there, and that probably speaks to why it took 13 months. Holy shit, that is not straightforward. Far less straightforward than even like a full takeover, because there's all these caveats, but we'll get into that later. Let's talk football, sir. How are we looking? Manchester United 3, Aston Villa 2, Old Trafford, Boxing Day. Gotta love it.
Let's get into that lineup. We had Andre Onana in net, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Evans, the low back line, Mainu, Eriksson, Bruno, midfield, Rashford on the left. I swear to God, Eric Den Hag listens to the pod when I went on that rant last episode. Hoyland up front and Garnacho on the right. What a move. How are we feeling about this 11?
I mean, dare I say I like the 11. McTominay finally gets the drop. That was important. Hey, McTominay appreciated those goals like a month and a half ago, but it wasn't working. So Eriksson back in it. Rashford, he's been on the bench, but, we got to play Rashford at this point. And the only disappointment was not seeing Luke Shaw, which I think he went down with an illness. But otherwise, I was pretty happy with this starting 11 when I saw it. What did you think, my man?
I liked Eriksson was going to be big. Mainu, huge spot for him. I really like that start. And Rashford on the left. I think, hey, we want to get our season going. Need to get Rashford going. And we're going to need to basically get him behind, challenge Villa with our pace, sir. Let's get into that match.
United start a little slow, not as bad as you would think, but I'll tell you what, these goals, they leave a lot to be desired. 11th minute, Eriksson had a nice snapshot from the edge of the box, but it was right at Martinez, and then the pain train started, 21st minute. Ooh, free kick.
On the 18-yard box if I was Man United. It's just a nuisance. In by McGinn, all the way in! To steal the
One of those like straight free kicks. Nobody gets a hand on it. No Villa player gets a touch on it, and the goalie's just standing there. And you know what? We've seen this under Onana. We've seen this under other keepers. But how many times has Manchester United been scored on without like anybody touching the cross? And I was worried at this point because you're giving up shit sandwich goals against a team like Villa, who we know is a good team now. That ain't good.
Oh, Nana, got to do better there. Again, set piece. Shitfootball.com set piece goal is not what I wanted for Boxing Day. We got it right here. I feel like collectively we all deflated, but, you know, we thought that was going to be the pain, sir. Let's get into the next one.
That's the thing about Manchester United this season. Pain seems to come in batches, and it came right after in the 26th minute. They weren't done yet from a corner.
with another corner. McGinn with depth. Long way round the back. It's two. Dendoncker has applied the touch.
Ooh, I'll tell you what. I don't know who our set piece coach is. I don't know who teaches these lads how to defend, but that's almost comical. Just free cross. He squares it in the box, and the defender does like a back heel into the goal, and it feels like that is just going to be our misery for the day. But I was, to stay pissed off, I shouldn't get that emotional at this point about Manchester United. I should expect to lose, but I was fired up because it's just like the quality of the goals you're giving up. It's just, you're going to get beaten by anybody, let alone Villa.
Brutal, absolutely brutal. Dejected here. You could hear it around the ground, sir. 31st minute, Rashford, a decent chance at the edge of the box. He shoots, probably should have passed. I feel like the Villa high line were offsides on every run.
Oh, my God.
The attack was sloppy. Halftime whistle goes and boos sound out throughout Old Trafford, which is on Boxing Day is brutal. Obviously we haven't lost in the Premier League era on Boxing Day. Sir, what do you think about the halftime adjustments the manager made, which was none?
I mean, I thought, like, if you look at the bench, the team that's on the field is the best team you got. So I didn't think there were any changes to be made. I just think, like, those goals, if you give up those goals and you're so bad on the ball like we were, like you said, we got caught off sides 5, 6, 7 times in the first half. They played an extremely high line. They kept catching us. We weren't curving our runs. I just think, like, you got to step up the intensity. You got to go. They're there to be had. They're playing that high line. You can get them over the top with Rashi. So there was no one on the bench that was going to save us. What do you think, sir, going into halftime?
This was. Look, I felt like the attack just needed to connect. I mean, we were getting in behind. We were kind of threatening. I feel like we're getting into the dangerous areas, but not, again, our attack wasn't really producing much. You saw Garnacho kind of flub it a few times. The greatest troll keeper of all time.
Of all time.
Villa.
Of all time. Of all time.
But yeah, look, second half, the manager stuck with it. Balls of steel, 48th minute. Garnacho scores, but VAR overturns this one for offsides. Rashford passed it a tad early here. What do you think of this one?
I'm not going to whinge as much as I would normally whinge because we won the game. I thought the ref did not have a good game. I thought, like, he kind of let Villa play into their hand, which I said going into this game. They're a dirty fucking team, and when they get touched, they make a meal of it, and I think they were doing this for as long as they could. But we walked away with all 3 points, so I'm not whinging. But I thought that, I don't know, the line after we saw what was the Arsenal game where they actually took the time to break it down and go into the ref booth. Like, they could basically draw the line however they want to draw the line. Like, there is no objective nature to the line. So I was a little frustrated. What were you thinking?
It was clear. I think it was clear this one was offside. But hey, what were we moaning about VAR? Let's get into the 59th minute.
Let's go.
By the way, this slowing down of the ball, but they'll just give it away in a dangerous spot now. Fernandes and Rashford and United via Garnacho on the strip for them. interest. Please, he begs, please don't take this one away. Garnacho.
I'll tell you what, that's what I was thinking when we scored that goal. Well done from the lads. Well done, a turnover high up the pitch. Well done. Nice pass to find Marcus Rashford. And more importantly, Marcus Rashford puts the ball in. Instead of taking the shot, he passes it. Hoyland can't get there, but Garnacho can. Great goal. And you know what? I echo the commentator, which is like, Jesus Christ, don't overturn it. Just don't do it to us. But at one goal in, I was feeling feisty because they were there. They look a little shook. They look like they were a little worried about United, and I thought it was our half.
I mean, this was just like a bad giveaway, too. I mean, talk about self-inflicted wound leading to this goal. But an amazing finish. And Garnacho, look, a young player, kind of, hasn't been basically starting for United, playing well, comes in here, scores, gets it taken away, and he's like, nuh-uh. Like, nuh-uh. I mean, like, he's showing up. He's going to be a big player for Manchester United going forward, and to do this job on the right where he was our most dangerous player and to finish like he did, unbelievable. 60th minute, right after the goal, bam, Villa coming off the kickoff,
The
like
top rope.
huge opportunity. This is again like old habits die hard, right? Get a big goal and then we're switched off. Concede a huge chance here. Onana with a big save, but don't get it mistaken. This was real dangerous from Villa. 63rd, great chance for Garnacho, slices it just wide, sir, and then he would get another goal in the 71st.
Garnacho, and he loves space. And he flicks it wide for Fernandez. Garnacho! He's dragged United back all by himself.
Sir, he will be a big-time player. He is a big-time player for this Manchester United side. Unbelievable, 19 years old. This composure on the ball to score this goal when everybody's going the other way, and he goes near post. Oof, this goal meant so much. Huge, huge goal for Manchester United and for the youngster. But like you said, just like that first goal we scored, they were coming at us right after. Their best chances were right after our first and second goal, and this was no different, which still makes you a little nervy, right?
No, I mean, this is just United have scored in games we've scored a lot of goals. We've conceded a lot of goals, and I feel like these two chances here in the 73rd, huge block from Johnny Evans. Onana knew nothing about this one. This one was like by the hair in your chin, keeping this out. So just highlighting that it was not the easiest of times here, where Villa was creating some big XG on these opportunities and these chances right after we score a goal, which is just like teams that concede from set pieces, teams that concede right after they score goals. Like, what does that say about our habits at the moment? 80th minute sub, Anthony and McTominay for Rashford and Mainu. And then, sir, I'm living on a miracle. I'm waiting on a miracle. Hoyland.
Let's go. Let's go. 82nd minute.
And Fernandez with the corner. And Hoyland! Dream fulfilled! And Manchester United from the depths hit the heights! At last, at long last, amid festivity, Rasmus Hoyland with a Premier League goal!
Holiness can follow me around, but they will not give up until we're done. God knows things could be better, but I'm trying to keep it together. I'm still waiting on a miracle to come.
Woo! I don't even know who that guy is, but shout out to Hoyland and Hoyland's doppelganger. What a goal. I mean, the guy, he's earned it. He's deserved it. We know there's a player there. He's got no service all season. He scored 5 goals in the Champions League as we crashed out in 4th place. They give him an inch, and he has a great finish off the post. All you see is the troll, Emi Martinez, just flailing for it. And it's an appropriate winner in the Stretford end in the 80s of minutes. And it's exactly what this team needs right now. It's like, this is probably the turnaround we need, but feels are feels, and this was a huge goal. I lost my shit when we scored this goal, and waiting on a miracle, sir. It finally arrived.
I think this is it. This is the miracle, the Christmas miracle we needed. Hoyland, RVP in the stands, another great United striker. He did it in front of them, in front of the Stretford end. Instinctual finish from the Dane.
Great finish.
And like he's crying. Look at the emotion that he's carrying. Like that's what you want to see. Fan of Manchester United, comes to Manchester United. He's young, too much pressure. The woes of a horrible front office, just putting too much pressure on the youngster. And you can see that pressure release a little bit. And let's hope we can see him loosen up as our number 9. But man, Hoyland, he looks like a great player, future player for United. Garnacho, you're right. He's probably the guy now. Hoyland's probably the guy for the next 5 years. We just need to get some more experience around him. But great poacher's goal. That's what he is. And you like to see him doing what he's good at on the main stage, at home at Old Trafford. 89th minute, Kambwala came on for Eriksson. Let's shut it down. Then Hannibal and Gore. Obviously, Gore with the debut. For Eriksson and Garnacho. Great to see. 9 minutes of stoppage time from nowhere.
What the fuck was that, by the way? What the fuck
Villa
was
did
that?
Come, sir, the Buffalo Wild Wings called in. They wanted more time for the local patrons at the pub. Regardless, United win. You get the 3 points. Like I said, it's a results-based business and a big result on a big stage in a big moment. Villa coming into Old Trafford with a 2-goal lead in the first half. This could have been back-breaking stuff. And big comeback for Manchester United. And this one's all about the vibes. Holiday vibes, young goal-scoring vibes, the comeback. Everything you want to see at Old Trafford, sir. You love it.
You love it, and you're right. This is this is a special club. This club is a heartbeat, and the club's been in a tough spot for a long time. This is just a game.
I was like, what trophy we win?
Nothing. This is not. I'm not saying. I'm just saying it's both the wins of a shame.
Going on, it's like,
I'm not saying this is no cup, bro. I'm not pulling a Newcastle. I'm not gonna take a photo of the locker room and send it out on social media. What I'm saying is how things go. Always darkest till the dawn. And I'm not saying we're going to win shit this year because we're not. And this is going to take a long time for Ratcliffe to rebuild because there's a lot of muck around. There's a lot of players that need to be shipped. There's a lot of front office folks that need to be fired. And there are folks that need to be hired. And then probably new people brought in because you know how that goes. You don't always get it right first way go around. So the rebuild's got to take time. But all I'm saying is things come in waves. And this feels like a wave of positivity, even though there's still going to be shit football on the horizon. So either way, 3-2. Great win, comeback victory against a very good Villa side who were going to go joint top of the table if they did beat us. So thankfully the record stands. A lot of academy shout out to all the academy lads making their mark, right? Rashi, Garnacho, Kamwala. I want Hannibal more. He's such a little shithouser coming in with those fucking cornrows. So, hey, positivity is the name of the day for today.
Look, history doesn't repeat, but it often rhymes. And I remember a Jose Mourinho back against the wall type of win, second half comeback win against Newcastle United with Sanchez scoring. I think it was 3-2 as well. Someone's got to check me on that one, but that was still on the slide.
Yeah, dead cat bounce.
It was a dead cat bounce, but you know what? Certain players were playing for that manager, and I think a lot of the dark clouds we saw around Manchester United, we saw players playing for the manager today, and players still played for the manager for Mourinho when he was on his way out the door, or we were on the slide. I mean, this is just one of those things where we have these emotional highs that we're hanging on, and it's just an interesting spot, an interesting place where we are given the backdrop of the team and kind of everything that's going on. And, you love to see the new ownership there, seeing this great win. But we hope that it's the consistency that we're looking for. We're not looking for living on a miracle. We're looking on winning titles, So, we're living on a miracle for 3 points at home. against Aston Villa, we need to be winning titles, right? I think there's just a big gap from where we need to be and where we are.
I can't disagree with that. I know where we are. This team has real problems, structural problems, questions around the coach, questions around the squad, questions everywhere. But at the end of the day, we'll take it. We're only as good as your last game. Today was an uneven performance, right? We gave up 2 shit goals. We should have been able to go there and play our football. And you know what? Sometimes it takes for a team to have their back against the wall, but the team did show fight. And I think there has to be something to be said. Like when a team when we run around enough, we get at least some kind of result. When the team is like going slow and not pressing, then they often get blown out.
Yeah, but we can't do that multiple games in a row. Like
what does that say about the squad? Teams, right? What does that say about the mentality of the players? That's something.
No, I know. I'm just like, for me, an emotional high as a fan. Yes, it's just like results over 38 games that are going to get us to where we need to go. Like that's what we're right now. We're in survival, like Rocky in the 10th round.
Taking
like I get it. Like that's where we're at. But like I want to be more of the playing good football, sound defense, set piece defending, like, implementing the game plan, maybe not conceding the goals and winning, just like more clean. I feel like we've just been all over the shop all year. And while this is like, you cannot understate big result, big team, big spot. It doesn't honestly, this result is huge. This result could turn it around. I hope it does. I hope this is a lifeline to get the vibes back. Erickson, the midfield, you noticed it.
Yeah, he did.
Manu coming to his own, finally figuring out where to play Garnacho and Rashford. I think he figured it out, right? I don't think it's too late. I think we're in the top 4 race. I think all these things is just a question of, can we keep it up? Can we use this as a spark to go on a run? To get those points, to claw up the table, because that's what we need to be seeing at the end of the day. And like I said, it's a results-based game. Play like shit and win, everything's fine. Play like shit and lose, we've seen that movie before.
Yes, we have. Every flavor in between.
Looking at the stat sheet, 13 shots for United, 10 to Villa, 7 on target for United to their 4, 46% of the ball. They had more of the ball in our house. Looking at XG per at Mark StatSpot, XG was 1.28 for United to 1.95 to Villa. X threat was 0.94 to their 1.4. More ball. The field tilt was very even. They actually had more touches in the final third. They had 52%. We had 48. If you look at the stat sheet and look at all the advanced stats, they basically beat us in every single metric except for press, right? We won more high turnovers, and they had fewer passes per defensive action. So we came to play a certain way. We pressed the hell out of them. We won the ball up high. That led to big chances. But the difference between us and Villa, and you could see it from my perspective, they're way more clinical in the final third.
Oh, yeah.
They were able to open us up, overlapping runs. Like you saw, as soon as we scored, they got into a dangerous area, and the chance that they created was that's why they had more XG. I feel like it was just, we were trying to just get in behind, they made mistakes, get in behind. Unai Emery should not be playing that way. If you're up by 2 goals, he should have packed it in. That's the craziest part about this whole thing, is Unai Emery played into our hands. They kept playing this.
Yeah, he's trying to stick a dagger in our heart, bro. He's trying to fucking annihilate us.
They played twinkle toes, played out the back. It was a mistake that led to our first goal. I felt like they invited the pressure the way that they were playing. I felt like they got that totally wrong as well. So it's kind of insane how much they didn't switch to a defensive style. They just kept playing this numpty troll out the back ball. And I feel like if you look at kind of where they were dangerous, how they were dangerous, the stat sheet does favor them. I feel like everyone kind of came out of this game we played amazing. I really think that the devil's in the details on this one. And while the momentum and playing at Old Trafford was our way, Villa did get a lion's share of the attacking metrics.
I mean, you can't argue the stats because you have to look at the data, as Louis Van Gaal said. But I think it was like we had more, but I feel like their chances were much higher quality. They created higher chances. The chances that they had after our first and second goal were like near goals. I can only imagine the XG on those two chances, the Onana save, the Evans block. But either way, a win's a win. 3 points is 3 points, and we'll take anything we can get because this team has been fucking flailing. We've been just basically trying to tread water and keep our head above the waves. And this is a big opponent. This would have been an ugly loss at home. Doesn't matter the score line because you're losing a Boxing Day. Doesn't matter if Villa's in the top three. I don't feel good, especially with a new owner or new ownership scheme coming in. So we got the win. But the real test is Saturday when you go play Forest away because that is the trap game. Villa is great, but you're only as good as your last game, and you got to be picking up points against the bottom half because that's where your bread's buttered. That's going to get you in the top four. You have to beat everyone below you. It's like the ones above you, we'll see. But you cannot be losing to fucking West Ham. We know what happened. Bournemouth, we know what happened. We can't let it happen with Forest. We know what happened with Forest earlier in the season. We got away with one, and I don't think we're going to get the same luck this time. We have to go out there and play better than them.
No, that's a great point because, you want to see the stat sheet at like a Forest show you that, we are imposing our game plan. It's working. And that's where you're going to see the spark. This team we've seen good results from this team. It just has been followed by poor results.
Right.
Its consistency has been all over the board, even across the individuals. And like looking at the table, Scouse Bastards, hate to see it, 42 points. They played one more game, so Arsenal game in hand with 40. Villa at 39. You can't state how big beating a Villa is, right? At the end of the day, Tottenham 36, City 34, United 31. We pull top four within 5 points, but Tottenham does have a game in hand. Take that for what it's worth. It could be 8, depending how Tottenham plays this game week. So look, it's halfway through the season. We're 6th place, -4 goal differential. 3 big goals today. But what do we know, sir? Let's check in with the main man, the manager.
Jim Ratcliffe would have thought of that performance.
I don't know. You have to ask them the questions.
Fair to say it was the best and worst of your team, though?
No, it wasn't the worst. It's I think already first half we played solid. Only it was a little bit sloppy to give 2 goals away from set plays. And I think only half time we slightly changed a little the pressing, but it was a really slight change. But we kept going. Already first half we created chances twice. Rasmus Højlund, Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, Diogo Dalot, and were all very good, created chances from open play. So we keep going and believe in ourselves. And I said that is what I demand from a team. I said it before the game. I say it during halftime. Keep believing, and we will win this game.
You switched Garnacho to the right tonight, and he was terrific. I mean, he can play very well on the left, and he played well on the right. Is it getting to the point now where it doesn't necessarily matter where he plays? He's that influential.
I think we did it previously as well. And then he was almost more comfortable on the left. But I think he can play on the right as well. And today, I think he was on that right side over 90 minutes, absolutely a threat, and scored now twice. But I think the whole front line played very good, and they invested so lot in wins behind. And the timings were so good. And I think that was continually a threat for the opponent.
It's the funny thing about our manager, sir. It's like he either does like a 2-word response or a 2-minute response. About the same, what you expect. He's a stubborn bastard. We know this, for better or for worse. And had our moments. He doesn't think he adjusted things that much. We gave us some bad goals. Shouldn't have given up. And got a result. And he shouts out big time the Garnacho. Great performance on the right wing. I think that's one of the big takeaways. That front three, that's locked in. Right. Marcus has to be on the left, Højlund up front, and Garnacho on the right. I like that front three all day. What do you think? You're nodding. You're smiling.
Hey, they shall be evaluated on their goal scoring ability. Like getting paid millions of dollars. Wearing that shirt, you got to score goals. That's just how it is, sir. I'd love to play for Manchester United, but
that ship has sailed. We have some connectivity issues. We're going to get back with John in absolutely 1 second. But we got our next match. We got Nottingham Forest versus Manchester United at the City Ground in the EPL on Saturday, December 30th, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Our record versus Forest, we have won 53. We have drawn 24. We have lost 33. Hold on, we're going to try to get John back. First time we played, Nottingham Forest versus Newton Heath, 1-1 in the League One in 1892. Last five, we have won all five, including the squeaker at home on the 26th of August, that 3-2 late winner from Scott McTominay. From Scott McTominay, do we have John? Hold on. Here we go. We're back. We got you, sir.
I'm back, baby. Let's go.
All right, we've won the last five. Apologies. We're doing it live. That's what we do on the America Devils podcast. I prelude the game. We won them. We beat them the last 5 games. They come in with a bit of form. They lost to Fulham 5-0. They tied Wolves 1-1. They lost to Forest. Excuse me, they lost to Tottenham 2-0. They beat Bournemouth. No, they lost to Bournemouth. This is why you do this part, sir. They lost to Bournemouth 3-2. They beat Newcastle yesterday, actually, 3-1. And then, of course, we have the weekend, and we lost John again. You there, blood? John.
Toast.
I got you?
Yeah. How's that Mickey Mouse internet you got?
You tell me. Must be on my side. Forest.
Let's go.
Tell me about Forest's background. We talked about their games. Tell me about
Oh, that's my section.
Start over.
No, I'm just kidding. You want to give you a little history on it? Forest coming in hot, beating Newcastle. You know, why is every team got to get hot? They got the new manager bounce, like as is tradition. Nuno Espirito Santo coming in, giving them, beating Newcastle. Chris Wood hat trick, sir.
Could you believe it? That's St. James Park.
I can, because you know, that's just how the football and gods are cool to Manchester United fans at the moment. Founded in 1865, Forest have played their home games at City Ground since 1898. Sir, that is a long time, and they've won 2 European Cups. That's something that Forest, did in the 60s. Their fiercest rivalry is with Derby County, with which it contests the East Midlands Derby. They've won red since the club's foundation in 1865, sir. That's before we've been doing it. Regardless, huge game, need the 3 points. Our away form is no good. They got the 4-2-3-1. Chris Wood with the Hattie. Oh, yeah, they got Elanga. He's scoring goals since we sold him. That sounds about right.
Killing it.
Chelsea reject, Hudson-Odoi, and Turner in net. Injuries, we got Malacia, Martinez, Casemiro, Mason Mount, Lindelof, Magoo, Varane's back, Martial is ill, Jadon Sancho suspended, Ahmad, tough to see, but he's not back yet. Given those injuries, what is your starting 11?
I'm going to do the same 11 just with Shaw, assuming he's back. So I'm going to do Onana, AWB, Varane, Evans, Shaw, Kobe, Eriksson, Bruno, Rashford on the left, Hoyland up front, Garnacho on the right, sir. What do you got?
I'm going to say the same. It's got to be the same team. Plus Luke Shaw, like you said. Like that, I got no changes. I don't think there's any reason to change it. I think we got to find the best 11. That is it. So we're booking the bookies.
Booking the bookies. It's tighter than you would think. Nottingham Forest plus 190 at home. The draw plus 250. And United on the road plus 135. Sir, given the odds, what is your score prediction?
Tighter than you would think. Have you seen our away form lately? Sir, I want to believe in Santa Claus. I want to believe in miracles. I do not. This is Forest 2-1, United lose. Inconsistency strikes back.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think it's going to be the same score line as the Newcastle game, 3-1. Chris Wood gets, well, I've been along gets a couple, just to rub salt in the wound, sir. Either way, we'll find out sooner rather than later. We got some news, and we got a lot of it.
United in the news. Apparently, a football club that's for sale wasn't for sale, but
Cantona's got a thing to say. Do you want to hear from the great former captain?
Absolutely.
When the seagulls follow the trawler, it's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you.
Trawler, sir, give us the news. What's the deal? Did Sheikh Hassim, did he finally pull off the deal?
My favorite part of the whole thing is that there's these
I know.
Sheikh Hassim Qatar troll accounts.
I know.
I honestly think that was probably part of their bid was to get all the people worked up about it online. Regardless, we told you the whole way it's going to be longer. It's going to be more convoluted than anyone is saying on Twitter or anyone who claims to know anything about the deal. And here we are, more than a year later, talking about a very complicated transaction that accomplishes a lot, right? We talked about why the Glazers would want to do a deal like this, and we're seeing exactly why. And so here, you can read all the threads on Twitter. You can go to sec.gov. Damn straight, that's America, baby. And because listen on New York Stock Exchange, remember that we are the American Red Devils. So don't listen to these people. We, work in finance, taking companies public, know all this stuff. Docs came out 2 hours ago. Haven't read them. I got 2 kids, a lot going on.
I got shit football to talk about.
So instead of trying to have everyone pretend to be a legal expert, I'm gonna talk about why this deal is done. Right? You read the tea leaves, you look at business, you understand why would the Glazers do this deal like we talked about. We gave you we told people why. They're gonna sell 25%. Right? 25% Class A, Class B. It's split down the middle, right? And the reason for that is the Glazers are going to get a taste. It's a secondary deal, which means the money is going to the shareholders, right? The club is not getting this money. We talk about, the £1 billion+ that he's putting in. It's half of it's going to the Glazers' pockets. They need a taste. They're the trust fund babies. They're all splitting it straight. They're going to get some money in their pockets, which is what they want. And then they're basically going to do the same thing they've been doing ever since they have acquired Manchester United, which is nothing. They're going to do nothing. They're going to sit in South Florida, and they're going to let this guy, Jim Ratcliffe, run the football club. And if you think about it, it's like, wait, you mean we can just sit in Florida? You pay us £1 billion, and then you're going to deal with all the nonsense that we don't care about? And then we get to reap all the rewards from all the work that you do? Yes. That is why they took this transaction. See Kashim, nickel and diamond them about the valuation of the club and saying it wasn't worth $6 billion when the Washington football team just sold for that number is crazy. Manchester United will trade for $10 billion one day. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. The Glazers want to hold their shares, and they get the best of both worlds. They get a little taste up front. They don't have to deal with the brain damage of understanding this sport or traveling across the pond. They're going to give it all to Ratcliffe. He's going to deal. He's going to take all the L's, and they're going to sit back and hopefully watch this thing grow. The biggest part is they're not taking the dividend. That's huge. Ratcliffe is a private equity guy. He's going to trim it down, right? They're going to get cash flow pumping at Old Trafford, and then that's going to turn us back into the juggernaut we need to be. I think this is a great deal for Manchester United. We can get into specifics, but that's just my high level.
No, well said. I love that. A little taste. Because that's what it's all about for the Glazers, is getting a taste. And you know what? They get to avoid the heat. And that's another good point, sir, is like, it's all on Sir Jim now. The good decisions, the bad decisions, it's all going to come his way. The random Sky Sports journos or Manchester United podcasters that are like, ambushing him at Davos or in Tampa or where have you, they're going to go away. They're going to be focused on Sir Jim Ratcliffe. There is no kind of like, keep me honest, sir, explicit pathway to 51% ownership, but it's not off the table, right? There is a route given that he's now in. And given the fact that he's going to invest in the team.
No, there's not there. Like, obviously, if agreed to at whatever price, he could buy it from them. But yes, there's no pathway to 51%. No, there is not. Like, so like, if you're thinking about all the key terms in this deal that could be negotiated, like the Glazers gave up quite a bit. Like, I'm surprised how much they gave up. And it was because they wanted the premium valuation. Now you have to say why they picked this bid is because it values the team at a higher price. Right. And they didn't want to sell cheap to Qatar. Right. They would have had to sell very cheap to Qatar. And at the end of the day, this values the asset highly and then kind of reinvigorates, like, someone's going to go in and just clean up the organization, try to get it humming. And like, that's ultimately they're basically taking a taste and they're like trusting in Sir Jim. Sir Jim probably had to sell him on it too. Like, he had to sell him like, hey, I'm the guy to do this. Like, I'm going to come and work for you and make your asset worth more. Right. And isn't that a better pitch? Like, I'm going to give you over $1 billion. You're going to get liquidity up front, and then I'm going to make your shares worth more.
Who wouldn't like that? Especially if you've had terrible success running the club. So they get the best of both worlds. Like you said, they get a cash infusion.
Exactly.
$1 billion.
Yes.
They get the heat taken off of them, and they get to ride the upside when I'm hoping, you're hoping, we're all hoping that Manchester United turn things around. Sir Jim, the team that he instills and hires and fires. There are a lot of, you got to do the firing first before you can do the hiring. Will bring United back to the promised land over time. And I think the points you brought up were very good, especially the private equity approach, for good or for bad, right? Private equity.
Yes,
people think debt. People think debt because that's often a component of private equity. That's how Glazers bought United in the first place, right? In an LBO financed by debt. But there's another side of a private equity approach, which is just like, cash flow positive, pushing margin, and cutting out all unnecessary costs wherever possible. They talked about this even before the deal closed last week. We have like 1,100 people working at Man United. Other clubs in the league, the top clubs have like 700, 800. There's probably 20% you can cut right there. Then talk about systems improvement, talk about additional revenue. When the club is playing well, they're going to sell the stadium rights to build or redo the stadium. So this is the beginning of something. It's exciting. You know what? People want to get everything. People want to fall in love with like a manager or whatever, and they want to fall in love with a new owner, and they think like, oh, there was something about Qataris coming in, taking out the Glazers full on, and we're not getting that, so they're somehow not satisfied. This is the beginning of something. You're never going to get everything
PSG
you want.
Going?
Exactly.
How's PSG?
Exactly.
How's PSG
and also,
going?
if they have so much money, they would have paid the $5 billion or $6 billion. They wouldn't even go above $5 billion. So they're all talk, and they use Sky Kavanagh and Goldbridge and all these other dudes to basically talk about how great Qatar is. But at the end of the day, Ratcliffe put up real cash, and he's also putting real cash into Manchester United. £300 million. That's real money. That's £300 million more than Glazers have ever put into Manchester United.
Yes. Okay. So getting in the tactical parts of the transaction, right? So like when we talk about the Class A shares, that's just trades on the New York Stock Exchange. Those are liquid that you and me can buy them. Class B shares, the Glazers hold, and they have all the control, right? It's like 10-1 voting rights. Plus, if one share is outstanding, they actually have veto on change of control, right? So all the control and the governance is wrapped up in Class B. They're selling Class B to Jim Ratcliffe, which is huge because he's kind of coming into bed with them, and it's going to cost them about $900 million to get 25% of those Class B shares. All six Glazers selling those B. So they're giving up control. They're bringing someone else into the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory bed. They're all in the bed together, like, in a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
More of that. Come on.
No, so like they're inviting this guy who's now going to own these shares, and then so the biggest filing is the governance filing. You want to read about governance is how a club is run. Boards, think of boards like the boardroom is like the votes on control, etc. Like, and so they acquiesced a lot of different governance qualifications. Like one being that Ratcliffe can tell them no dividend for 3 years. They cannot sell the club for below $33 a share for 3 years. That means Jim Ratcliffe's valuation is kind of set in stone. He also has veto rights on a sale at any price for 1 year. He's going to get 2 board seats, which again is minority, so the Glazers can outvote him. But they are handing over football operations, right? So that is the number one thing. So the 2 big deal, if I read through all this stuff, everyone's going to get technical on it. He's going to buy Class B shares taken away from the Glazers, all 6. He can tell them no dividend for 3 years. He's taking over footballing operations. He's investing the extra $300 million. That $300 million is going to get up to 29%. And that $300 million is earmarked for stadium renovation, right? So how are you going to get a new stadium, right? So stadium is on the table. It's been talked about as part of this transaction. They can spend that $300 million in other ways, but in future cash flows, they have to claw that back to invest that money in the stadium, right? So the language is actually very interesting. If you want to get more about the governance, you can read that filing that I linked to on our Twitter. Now, the deal doesn't close, right? So there's penalties for, like, if each of them pull out, they have to pay each other, like, Glazers have to pay him $60 million or he has to pay him $100 million. It's called a breakup clause. You penalize people if you just want to, like, stop the deal. So everyone is kind of like in bed together. They want to close this transaction. The close date is tentatively set for April 24. It can basically move to June. Like I said, this is the announcement. Here's the terms. It's not going to close till April or June, right? You have the tender offer for the Class A shares. Not going to get into that because it's just kind of a racket. It's more of like a logistics issue. In the next couple of weeks, Glazers have to read them in on everything they do. So there's kind of like a freeze on the footballing side and staff changes, et cetera. So basically, Ratcliffe's kind of on the interim side, working with them together, getting the deal closed, and there will be no surprises. Ratcliffe is pretty much in as of today, and that's what you want to see, right? So you're seeing Ratcliffe come into bed with them. He's going to take over the footballing side. We've seen the guys that are being linked to United, and that is the big news. That's what I'm excited about. Vibes FC, seen it a million times, seen it under Mourinho, seen it under Ole, seen it under Eric Ten Hag. I'm not that worried about it, right? The 3-2 comeback to win you nothing ain't getting me excited. I want Champions League number 4, 5, and 6. I want to beat the Scouse Bastards at that number. I want 21, 22, 23. That's what gets me fired up as a United fan. I'm sick of this shit. You look at Jean-Claude coming in. What is he going to do? He's going to make us money, dude. That guy's a marketing genius. Look at the Jumpman contract he did with the Jumpman at PSG. You put a Jumpman on Manchester United, we're worth $10 billion tomorrow. Like, this guy is going to change the game. He's the real deal. Then you look at Dan over at Newcastle, the ex-Brighton director of football that we always wanted.
Ashworth.
What he can do with net spend. Dan Ashworth, what he can do with net spend is incredible. He basically brought in 22 players for a net spend of $60 million while he was at Brighton. That was like Casiedo, Cucurella, all those guys. He's going to change the game. And obviously Paul Mitchell in the mix. I want Dan at United. Those are the guys that are being linked to. Obviously, you're not going to get every single one, but the caliber individuals that are going to be at United, you're going to see a few things. You're going to see a real deal CEO run this team like it should be run, make more money. Oh, by the way, we're going to get leaner. We're going to generate more cash. That's going to help us pay down the Glazers' debt. There's no dividend. That's going to help United from a cash flow perspective get healthier over time. You're going to see the new stadium. That's going to mean more money going forward. Yes, Maui Gym Stadium is coming. It's inevitable. And then you add all these things together. We're going to spend less on players. We're going to trim the operations. We're going to get leaner. We're going to get meaner. And that means over time, we're just going to get better. The squad's going to get younger. We're probably going to get worse before we get better. But the likes of Anthony, the big contracts like Rashford, Casemiro, Varane are gone and dead. United are going to be out of this big spending, big splashy, dumb transfer business. We're going to get lean, mean, and young. And by the way, we're going to be a cash flow machine, which is going to be great for the stability of United over the next 20 to 30 years, is what we all wanted to see. I think this is a great direction, and you're going to see United humming, but it's going to take time for us to get back. But when we do, we are going to be a powerhouse. Look at Real Madrid, Barcelona. They're crippled by finances, starting the Super League. Do you want that to be our team? No. We want this type of owner coming in, doing what he's going to do, taking us to the next level over the next 20, 30 years, sir. Can't wait to be a part of it. Can't wait to watch it. I'm absolutely buzzing.
So I don't often do this, but
Respect, man, respect.
fucking amen all day. Cash cow, let's go. Lean, mean, fighting machine. And it's going to take time, and it's about competence. It's about hiring smart people, the best people you can get. Ashworth's going to be the hardest to get because we've got to pry him from the Saudis. But Jean-Claude Blanc is a great start. Like you mentioned, nothing happens to the cap table, right, sir? Like in terms of the capitalization, the debt stays there. There's no change to that, correct?
Yes, that is correct. But the problem, the debt's not a problem if you're gonna if you're gonna reduce the wage bill, right? We're gonna reduce the wage bill, then we're gonna reduce staff, right? We're gonna not take the dividend, and Manchester United basically makes $100 million in free cash flow a year. And if you boost that to 150 or 200, or you get a jump man on the kit, think of what we're going to do, right? So like we are at the edge, and like you got to start eating your vegetables. We're going to start eating our vegetables. Like the Antony deals are gone. Like all these big money dumb deals are gone. It's like we need to start getting younger and hungrier. The average age of the squad's got to go down. We got to start capping contracts. That's why we need to get like serious footballing guys in the front office. That's the path. That's the path, because we'll watch that. We'll watch young, hungry players
all day.
Like all day. It's way better than watching overpaid Anthony do nothing. It's like this is like where we're at right now is the worst situation you could be in. And already look at Ratcliffe talking to Must, making statements. This is what they're going to tell people. They're going to say, this is what we're going to do. We're going to get younger. We're going to get hungrier. And, oh, by the way, it's going to benefit the club over the long term. It's clear what the plan is. And we're going to have to eat our vegetables for a couple of years, but it's going to be all worth it, because at the end, you can see where we're headed. And, as a fan, it's like, that's what we need. We need to get off of what we've been doing over the last decade.
We've been doing an all sugar diet, sir. We've been eating candy for the last 10 years.
Exactly.
And it hasn't been working. I'll tell you what, it sounds good to sign Paul Pogba and Jadon Sancho and all these players for huge amounts of money, and $80 million for fucking Harry Magoo and $85 for fucking Anthony, like you said, and paying these guys fucking $20 million a year to fucking sit on the bench or play FIFA. We have to go back to basics and sign, like you said, young players, hungry players you never heard of. Maybe the hit rate will be different, but back to basics. And it's going to be the first time in 11 years where the Glazers are not calling the shots on the football operations. The first time since Sir Alex and David Gill. And that is the most important thing. Ratcliffe and co, they're not going to get it all right all at once, but over time, they're going to do a whole lot better than these Glazers have done and unleash the true potential. The idea, this is all made up, city money, but we should be making hand over fist more money than everybody else, because that feeds to every other part of the business. The more cash and revenue we take in, the more you can invest in the stadium, the squad, the facilities, the team around them, all that. So it's just like we got to get back to basics and remind everybody who Manchester United is, and the winds of a change are here, and I'm excited, sir, because it's going to take time. No quick fixes. There's a lot of muck to clean out. There's a lot of people need to be sacked.
And why don't the Glazers need the dividend? Because they just got the check from Sir Jim. Right.
3 years.
So do you understand?
Like
when we say we're excited about the club making more money, it's not like I'm excited for the Glazers to put more money in their pocket. I'm excited for us to start running this club in a responsible manner. They put Jim in bed with them. They can't do what they've been doing. They have to change. Clearly, they all know that where we've gotten to, and they almost had to, without Jim coming to the table and giving them the sweetheart deal, they would have had to sell cheap to the Qataris because of how screwed everything is. And so at the end of the day, I think, look, the next 3 years is going to be big. And trust me, you think they don't have the models on where they're going to be and how much money they need? No,
they don't.
Look, this is like a grown-up coming in and saying, hey, the party's over. It's going to be done the right way. And look, and guess what? If Jim does a good job, they're going to care less. They're going to not pay attention. The Glazers want out, dude. They don't care about this team. That's
Never have.
This deal, people want to say it's only one or the other. This is the path to them leaving. They will leave. Their intent is to sell. Whether it's to Sir Jim or somebody else, the intent is to get this thing back on track, cash flow kick in and then sell this club for like 10 billion. That is the move they want out. Trust me. This is a path to getting the Glazers out of this club. Is him doing a good job and then selling it. Trust me, that has been talked about. That has been agreed upon. They are thinking about that, right?
100%. And the better they do, the more the club will be worth. And maybe someone
This is Glazers out. Like this, people want Glazers out. Hey, it's just going to take longer. All right, let's get into fan questions here, sir. I know that's been a lot of news, but look, the club doesn't get, a transaction doesn't happen every day of the week, and it's complicated. Got to run through it.
Well
Any
done.
other questions you
well
guys
done,
have on
John.
it?
You nailed it. I have to say, shout out to my boy. You nailed it. Knocked it out of the park. This guy's, Christmas. So appreciate you. That was a great breakdown, and I think all fans are a little smarter after listening to you.
Sir, I don't know what I'm talking about. I stayed at the Holiday Inn last night. No, I'm just trying to hit on the points, like why they did this deal. What is he going to do, and does this mean that they're leaving or not? And yes, this deal does mean that they're going to go at the end of the day. The question is, does Sir Jim own it all at the end? That is TBD, right? I'm sure if he does a good job, you'd love for him to own it all, but we'll see. At Jamal Motas, sirs, it was Ole Ball of old. Our youngsters gave us the Boxing Day we deserved. Ten Hag gets some room, and hopefully we can build on this. Big congrats to Højlund on his first Premier League goal. Glory, glory, Man United. At Country Esquire, sometimes the Count Chocula goes soggy in the bowl. Still lots of questions in midfield and defense, but this has got to be the preferred forward line going forward. Rashford on the left, Garnacho on the right. Garna has 2 working feet, more pace, and a much higher ceiling. I will tell you, it's incredible to see him on the right.
He was outrageous.
It was incredible.
Outrageous.
It was insane. Like the hungriest player. He was our best player, obviously, but to see him get the goal overturned and him want to turn it to another gear, it was crazy. Without him, we don't win today.
No, he's got it. He's 19 years old. He's got something. He's the real deal. He's going to get better and better. And I hope we can just hold on to him for as long as possible.
Unfortunately,
he's going to Madrid, bro. It's a matter of time. He's like, look at those eyebrows,
I'm not
bro.
going to tell you what
he's going to
the
Iberia.
private equity guys are going to think about that. They're not going to give him more money. They're we are a Garnacho till he's 23, sell him for 150 million club. That's what we are, and that's what we should
for the next 3 years.
Unfortunately, you don't want to. We're not a Galacticos. You don't want to be Galacticos.
I mean, sir.
We're not.
We had some.
We are Galacticos.
We don't buy Galacticos. We build Galacticos, or we buy them before they become a Galactico.
Yes. You want them on the cheap contract. You want to get the big checks. That's how you build it. What did Fergie do? He always got rid of them before they went too crazy, right? Like Ronaldo. I can't deny getting rid of Ronaldo at that time. I think we sold him too cheap.
Sold him too cheap, and we didn't spend the money at all. Forget about reinvesting it poorly. We didn't spend the money at all.
At Al McEwen, putting all the takeover and rebuild aside, that was a great second half for Wingers and Højlund. Do you think this comeback win could be the turning point for the season on the park? Maybe recover a little pride and put a little run together? I hope so. I really do hope so. But there are a few things on that score sheet. Just some moments of madness from United. We got it in us, the set pieces, the switching off, the concede 2 in 5 minutes. These patterns have just been with us. And, it's different from Brentford last year. These patterns have been very consistent and pervasive.
All season.
And it's hard, yeah. Even in our wins. Even a great win like this or Chelsea. At M. Hersey, that win brings a tear to my eye. As fans, we've been through so many downs, and it feels good to finally have a moment to come together and celebrate a hard-fought comeback. Let's turn this season around, boys. Don't slow down. Here's to Højlund and Garnacho. Dude, great tweet. Unbelievable. I mean, we needed this one, sir. How this make you? I know you were sick over Christmas. Does this make you feel better?
This made me feel much better. The pod made me feel better. The game made me feel better. The Jim Ratcliffe news made me feel very excited about the future. And then sharing this with the American Devil communities. We appreciate, I think holidays are an important time of reflection. I appreciate this podcast, appreciate all the fans, and I'm hopeful of the future. It's going to take time. This season is in the shitter, and it's going to stay in the shitter. But either way, it's like we're going to build back something. It's going to take a long time, but we ain't going nowhere, right? Manchester United fans.
Hey,
hate adored,
we
never
ain't going
ignored.
nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. Hey, when they told you Qatar was going to buy him fast, we told them it was going to take a long time.
Where they at? Where they
you
at?
know, exactly. So, we are some Muppets, but we got something to say. And, I think this is this season is what it is. I just want those guys, Ratcliffe to get Ashcroft is number one.
Yep.
That's it. To me, Ashcroft would be getting him in.
He's worth overpaying for. He's worth throwing money at. Like, I know we've overpaid for players like out of our ears, but I would do basically whatever it takes to get him from Newcastle because he's probably the best on the market that knows the English game. He's perfect age, early 50s. He would
he would be Dan Ashworth. We keep messing his name up, but
well, he hasn't signed yet.
This game from times 50 if we signed him. Like a 20 years proven, done it all. Like, I mean, the stuff that he's doing is incredible. Like,
he's it, dude. It's like you have him, you have Paul Mitchell as the head of recruitment, you have Jean-Claude Bloch as your CEO, a couple other guys in there. You fire Murtaugh tomorrow. It's like it takes time. They're going to make mistakes, but over the long term, it's not a straight line, but it will trend upwards, and we're dying for that because we've been trending downwards for 11 years now.
Murtaugh's out too. We didn't talk about that. LOL. For the next pod, sir. It's been a great one. What a podcast. What a Boxing Day. What a hell of a 48 hours for Manchester United. Appreciate everyone. Hope everyone had a great holiday, sir. Check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/America Red Devils, AmericaDevils.store, AmericaDevils.com, sir. Feel better.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Give us our top 10 downloads the last 7 days. If you ate too much Christmas ham.
I didn't even get a chance to eat that ham, sir. It all went to shit. Literally on Christmas Eve. Let's talk about downloads. Number one, how you doing? Dublin, Ireland. Appreciate you. Chicago, Illinois. New York. Oslo, Norway. Los Angeles, California. Miami, Florida. Seattle, Washington. Orlando, Florida. Leeds, England. And Toronto, Canada. Appreciate all the American Devils listening week in, week out. We couldn't do it without you. Always dark before the dawn. Hopefully doesn't get dark at the City Ground. Nottingham Forest. Alonga, don't go dancing on us. Either way, any final words?
So I did get it right. It was 3-2 Newcastle, October 2018. Sanchez with the 90th minute winner, sir.
They're not firing him, dude. Like he'll get fired at the end of the season. They're not making.
Mourinho was gone 60 days later after losing the City, drawing Palace, Southampton, and Arsenal.
Well, there you go.
It was the Liverpool loss that killed him on the 16th.
That didn't kill Ole. Ole had another 5 weeks after that dagger to the heart.
We're not day trading managers of this pod, sir. We're day trading director of football appointments at this point. Anything to get us out. Again, hell of a podcast, sir. Take us out.
Appreciate all of you.